By the special grace of God, who reads the heart, who knows the heart of man, who knows the past and the future, who knows the beginning and the end. He sees what we don't see. He knows what we don't know. He knows that Godwin, he comes from a large family in Benin Kingdom. He went to school. He finished his secondary school. He went to University of Ibadan. He finished. There were no issues. Fly colors. He went to US. He did his masters. He came back home. He started helping people to set up businesses, to manage businesses. He helped to set up many banks, including several first generation, second generation banks. Then he came home to give support to me, to bring on board what I do not have. Because I am not a finance man, and he became the chairman of our economic team. So, everything we have done, the road from Arua to Zenema, Godwin had hand. The road from here to Uboha, Godwin has hand. The schools here, Godwin has hand. The water everywhere, Godwin has hand. He has been part of the tradition. He knows the vision. He knows the mission. He knows the target. He knows where we are. He knows the challenges, and he knows how to overcome them. To deliver all that he has promised, he will do. It's a family tradition to keep our word. That is what APC represents.
Good. When I hear them. Now, before I take you further on that same platform, the same man with his mouth, brought one man they called iyamu, the then opposition to OBaseki in that election. He sent him to the dry cleaners and said all manner of evil about him, which he made everyone to believe it is true. Fine. Listen to it.
But I mustn't forget, I have spoken about Godwin, I spoke about Philip, I spoke about Yakubu, now I must talk about iyamu. I talked to you how he went to school, so I'm also obliged to report as follows. And we are liable if we say anything that is libelous. I bear full responsibility in my personal capacity. I waive my immunity. I set my immunity aside, and I declare as follows before God that the other guy, Mr. Iyamu, he has a very interesting lifestyle. He went to school. He finished his primary school. I haven't seen the testimony, but he finished. He then went to University of Benin to read law. 2 years later, he was rusticated. For 2 years, they drive him from school. Why? He carried acid and poured on the body of another student. Today, that student is deformed for life. His manhood has been destroyed. Today, he cannot raise a family. That is his credentials. And that is why he could not go to law school. That is why, although he read law, he is not a barrister. Now, because of crisis of identity, he went to carry a Bible and said he's a pastor. I am born again. I am born. It's okay. The sin is committed. He has to continue to pray for that. Then, somehow he got out of Uniben, not a barrister. He has to carry pastor. All right. But you remember Pastor King? Pastor King. How many people King? He's sentenced to death now. So to carry Bible, it doesn't give a clue about who you are. Only God knows who is a Christian. Will somebody say hallelujah? By their action, we know who is a Christian, who is a Muslim, who is a pagan, who is a Kabbalist, who is a cultist, who is an honest man, and who is a gentleman. Now, his work experience. First job, PA, to who? Lucky Benedio. Second job, Chief of Staff, to who? Lucky Benedio. Third job, Secretary to Edo State Government, under who? Lucky Benedio. That's all his creations. After Benedio, He retired, started building his private homes. Finish. Now yesterday he wrote, when he cannot dispute the fact that in Uromi, PDP government with iyamu as secretary to the government, they didn't build school, they didn't build road, they didn't do anything. He now said, no, he cannot be blamed. Read today's papers. He said, iyamu said he cannot be blamed for the failure of Igbenedius government. Now there are two issues here. So he agreed that the government failed. Correct? The only thing he's saying is that he is not to be blamed. All right, if we will not blame him for the failure of the government in which he was chief of staff and secretary to government, would that be the reason to promote him to the office of governor? No. Hey, tell me your friends. Tell me your friends. Tell me the government you serve, and I will tell you what you will do. Is that not so? I'm campaigning with our candidate. He's able to say, I will build on what has been done. Iyamu is not able to say he will build on what they did before, because they did nothing.
Now, the bottom line of this thing that I just showed you is that the same Adam Oshomole have turned the table round. Now, it is now the OBaseki who was his dead angel. At that time, he is now on the other side. He is now the devil. He is now every bad thing you can think of. Good. And the same is iyamu of the then devil, the then evil, the then everything you can think of that is bad. Good. The same man Adam Oshomole is presenting to the Edo State people